explained it all for you. Life, how it works, its very reason and purpose. How else can I serve you?
There's nothing more I could ask. I'm filled with thanks for this incredible dialogue. It's been so far-reaching, so encompassing. You know, I had more questions to ask, but somehow these discussions make those questions seem irrelevant.
Yes. Still, you wanted to ask them. Let's just quickly answer the remainder of them one by one, now that we're moving this rapidly through the material.
What material?
The material I brought you here to expose you to. Now that we're moving through the material, let's just take those remaining questions and deal with them quickly.
Well, all right, what is the karmic lesson I'm supposed to be learning here? What am I trying to master?
You are learning nothing here. You have nothing to learn. You have only to remember. That is, remember me. What are you trying to master? You are trying to master mastering itself.
Is there such a thing as reincarnation? How many past lives have I had? What was I in them? Is karmic debt a reality?
It's difficult to believe there is still a question about this. I find it hard to imagine. There have been so many reports from thoroughly reliable sources of past life experiences. Some of these people have brought back strikingly detailed descriptions of events and such completely verifiable data as to eliminate any possibility that they were making it up or had contrived to somehow deceive researchers and loved ones. You have had 647 past lives, since you insist on being exact. This is your 648th. You were everything in them. A king, a queen, a serf, a teacher, a student, a master, a male, a female, a warrior, a pacifist, a hero, a coward, a killer, a savior, a sage, a fool. You've been all of it. No, there is no such thing as karmic debt. Not in the sense that you mean in this question. A debt is something that must or should be repaid. You are not obligated to do anything. Still, there are certain things that you want to do, choose to experience, and some of these choices hinge on the desire for them has been created by what you have experienced before. And that is as close as words can come to this thing you call karma. If karma is the innate desire to be better, to be bigger, to evolve and to grow and to look at past events and experiences as a measure of that, then yes, karma does exist. But it does not require anything. Nothing is ever required. You are, as always you have ever been, a being of free choice.
I sometimes feel very psychic. Is there such a thing as being psychic? And am I that? Are people who claim to be psychic trafficking with the devil?
Yes, there is such a thing as being psychic. You are that. Everyone is that. There is not a person who does not have what you call psychic ability. There are only people who do not use it. Using psychic ability is nothing more than using your sixth sense. Obviously, this is not trafficking with the devil, or I would not have given the sense to you. And of course, there is no devil with whom to traffic.
Is sex okay? Come on, what is the real story behind this human experience? Is sex purely for procreation, as some religions say? Is true holiness and enlightenment achieved through denial or transmutation of the sexual energy? Is it okay to have sex without love? Is just the physical sensation of it okay enough as a reason?
Of course sex is okay. Again, if I didn't want you to play certain games, I wouldn't have given you the toys. Do you give your children things you don't want them to play with? Play with sex. Play with it. It's wonderful fun. Why, it's just about the most fun you can have with your body, if you're talking of strictly physical experiences alone. But for goodness sake, don't destroy sexual innocence and pleasure and the purity of the fun, the joy, by misusing sex. Don't use it for power or hidden purpose, for ego gratification or domination, for any purpose other than the purest joy and the highest ecstasy, given and shared, which is love and love recreated, which is new life. Have I not chosen a delicious way to make more of you? With regard to denial, I've dealt with that before. Nothing holy has ever been achieved through denial. Yet desires change as even larger realities are glimpsed. It is not unusual, therefore, for people to simply desire less or even no sexual activity, or for that matter, any of a number of activities of the body. For some, the activities of the soul become foremost, and by far the more pleasurable. Each to his own without judgment. That is the motto. The end of your question is answered this way. You don't need to have a reason for anything. Just be cause. Be the cause of your experience. Remember, experience produces concept of self. Conception produces creation. Creation produces experience. You want to experience yourself as a person who has sex without love? Go ahead. You'll do that until you don't want to anymore. And the only thing that could ever cause you to stop this or any behavior is your newly emerging thought about who you are. It's as simple and as complex as that.
Why did you make sex so good, so spectacular, so powerful a human experience if all we're supposed to be doing is staying away from it as much as we can? What gives? And for that matter, why are all fun things either immoral, illegal, or fattening?
I've answered the end of this question with what I've just said. All fun things are not immoral, illegal, or fattening. Your life is, however, an interesting exercise in defining what fun is. To some, fun means sensations of the body. To others, fun may be something entirely different. It all depends on who you think you are and what you are doing here. There is much more to be said about sex than is being said here, but nothing more essential than this. Sex is joy, and many of you have made sex everything else but. Sex is sacred, too. Yes, but joy and sacredness do mix. They are, in fact, the same things, and many of you think they do not. Your attitudes about sex form a microcosm of your attitudes about life. Life should be a joy, a celebration, and it has become an experience of fear, anxiety, not enoughness, envy, rage, and tragedy. The same can be said about sex. You have repressed sex, even as you have repressed life, rather than fully self-expressing with abandon and joy. You have shamed sex, even as you have shamed life, calling it evil and wicked, rather than the highest gift and the greatest pleasure. Before you protest that you have not shamed life, look at your collective attitudes about it. 4/5 of the world's people consider life a trial, a tribulation, a time of testing, a karmic debt that must be paid, a school with harsh lessons that must be learned, and in general, an experience to be endured while awaiting the real joy, which is after death. It's a shame that so many of you think this way. Small wonder you have applied shame to the very act which creates life. The energy which underscores sex is the energy which underscores life, which is life. The feeling of attraction and the intense and often urgent desire to move toward each other, to become one, is the essential dynamic of all that lives. I have built it into everything. It is inbred, inherent, inside all that is. The moral codes, religious constrictions, social taboos, and emotional conventions you have placed around sex, and by the way, around love and all of life, have made it virtually impossible for you to celebrate your being. From the beginning of time, all man has ever wanted is to love and be loved. And from the beginning of time, man has done everything in his power to make it impossible to do that. Sex is an extraordinary expression of love. Love of another, love of self, love of life. You ought to therefore love it. And you do. You just can't tell anyone you do. You don't dare show how much you love it, or you'll be called a pervert. Yet this is the idea that is perverted. For you personally, simply know this. I have given you nothing shameful, least of all your very body and its functions. There is no need to hide your body or its functions, nor your love of them and of each other. Your television programs think nothing of showing naked violence, but shrink from showing naked love. Your whole society reflects that priority.
Is there life on other planets? Have we been visited by it? Are we being observed now? Will we see evidence, irrevocable and indisputable, of extraterrestrial life in our lifetime? Does each form of life have its own God? Are you the God of all of it?
Yes to the first part, yes to the second, yes to the third. I cannot answer the fourth part, since that would require me to predict the future, something I am not going to do.
Is that it? Is that all for now? Are we to speak no more here?
You miss me already?
I do. This has been fun. Are we quitting now?
You need a little rest. There's a lot here to absorb, a lot to wrestle with, a lot to ponder. Take some time off. Reflect on this. Ponder it. Don't feel abandoned. I'm always with you. If you have questions, day-to-day questions, as I know you do even now and will continue to, know that you can call on me to answer them. This is not the only way I speak to you. Listen to me in the truth of your soul. Listen to me in the feelings of your heart. Listen to me in the quiet of your mind. Hear me everywhere. Whenever you have a question, simply know that I have answered it already. Then open your eyes to your world. My response could be in an article already published, in the sermon already written and about to be delivered, in the movie now being made, in the song just yesterday composed, in the words about to be said by a loved one, in the heart of a new friend about to be made. My truth is in the whisper of the wind, the babble of the brook, the crack of the thunder, the tap of the rain. It is the feel of the earth, the fragrance of the lily, the warmth of the sun, the pull of the moon. My truth, and your surest help in time of need, is as awesome as the night sky, and as simply, incontrovertibly trustful as a baby's gurgle. It is as loud as a pounding heartbeat, and as quiet as a breath taken in unity with me. I will not leave you. I cannot leave you, for you are my creation and my product, my daughter and my son, my purpose and my self. Call on me, therefore, wherever and whenever you are separate from the peace that I am.
I will be there.
With truth
and light
and love.